So I had operated within that weird context of trying to control my life to become as perfect as possible. And while I was doing that, felt more and more out of control. Hello, welcome back to another episode over here at the Dana Lee Project and the Mandy Project and the You Project. Welcome. All right, so we're doing something a little fun today. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you guys think it's fun. I've yet to be determined because Mandy is going to ask me a question and I am put on the spot to answer said question. I don't know what the question is, so but let's just go with it. I'm here for it. And
Yeah.
let's have it.
So I think a lot of the times people will I think that there's a lot of people out there like myself who are curious about Dana Lee and like all the things, like what would Dana do or whatever. So I have a couple of questions that I've been writing down periodically. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, "Oh, I have a question," send me a message, put it in the comments because I'll ask her because there's Dana's got a lot of stuff, a lot of knowledge that she's talked about over the years, but then, then there's like this like period of time where we'll talk about menopause and we'll talk about this and we'll talk about that. And then so today I want to talk to you about what got you here. Old school, take you back to when you had to address your issues with exercise. We haven't talked about this in such a long time. And you do talk about it like you reference it. You like if you've been around a while, you know that this happened. So I sometimes tell my friends about the stuff that you went through to get to your breakthrough so that you can teach what you've been through and how you got here. So it's like, not everybody knows where you came from when it comes to this shit and
Mm-hmm.
how you struggled when it comes to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's a far back, way back machine that you have to remind yourself what it was like back then. So if you could start, because I'm like, don't start when, I was a toddler learning how to walk. You don't have to start there. But like maybe to the place where it started to be uncomfortable. Tell us your story, girlfriend.
Okay. Well, if I'm being honest, well, it was like teenage years, but it was always really uncomfortable. I think that that is the running theme, that there was just this level of discomfort in being who I was and striving so hard for perfection. I operated in this lens of perfection for a very long time. And it's interesting because it's not like my parents put a lot of pressure on me. They didn't. My parents are very, um, they supported us. We got a lot of, maybe not a lot of financial support growing up. We had to put ourselves through school and that kind of thing, but we did get a lot of emotional support. And they were very much like, you be who you need to be. Do you want to go to college? Great. Do you not want to go to college? That's fine too. My brother ended up in a trade. He's a cabinet maker. I did ultimately end up going to college. My sister dabbled, but then decided college was not for her and ended up becoming a nanny. So my point is that somewhere along the line, I put a lot of pressure on myself to prove myself, to strive, to become better. And even to this day, I don't completely understand where all of it came from, but I think the best way to describe it over the years that I really struggled with food and my body was that it compounded. It got worse and worse and worse inside here, and it didn't matter the shell. I mean, there were times I got pretty lean and I was pretty diesel looking, and it still wasn't really enough. But then it moved into, oh my God, the panic of how the fuck do I maintain this? So
Mm,
it just kept like shifting around and it became suffocating and it became like a smaller and smaller box I could operate out of until that that's why sometimes in my videos or when I talk I explain it kind of like a pressure cooker. For me, I felt like it was like condensing and the pressure was on and it was pressure I was putting on myself.
mhm,
Pressure I was putting on myself. Like, yes, I had a business and yes, there were things and deadlines and but when I'm really honest and I look back, and that's why you'll hear me also say, what problems are you creating that aren't really problems?
mhm,
I would put problems on myself. I would put deadlines that were like, I just had to really push myself to make the deadline, but it's a self-imposed deadline. I was like,
mhm,
so so I had operated within that weird context of trying to control my life to become as perfect as possible. And while I was doing that, felt more and more out of control.
mhm,
So I think what ended up ultimately happening was that just that breaking point of complete surrender. And I do believe you as an addict can relate to that.
mhm.
There's got to be some point, almost like a crescendo of like pushed to the point, past the point, and then some sort of revelation came over me of like, this can't be the way. This can't be the way.
Mhm.
Like, especially as I observed other people and how they were like, yes, getting things in life and being successful, but like not necessarily all in these material ways, right? It was very much like, wow, her, when you're around somebody, and hopefully I'm that person in your life now, that's like just being in the presence of like, oh, I feel safe and I feel comfortable and I feel at home and I feel like I don't need to be anything I'm not.
Yeah.
So sometimes I was exposed to those kind of people.
Mhm,
And I felt the presence was so different and they were so certain and grounded and comfortable with themselves. And it was like, I want what she's having. Like,
mhm,
that's what I want. So there were like little times in my life that I got exposed to a little bit of that. And so really when it came about the food and the exercise in my body, what's interesting is like so much of it, I it it was just a bigger message of you are meant for more than this.
mhm,
You are meant for more than the food struggle and the body image issues and the weight and the shape you were born in. There's just something more to
mhm,
life than this. And I felt that I was almost being robbed of that in
mhm,
striving for my perfection and doing everything right and being afraid of making the wrong decision and having things collapse anyway. And the other thing that was a very important lesson is I did understand because I believe that you have to work hard. You have to work hard to make money. You have to work hard to be lean. You have to work hard. But the caveat to that is no one told me you work hard in certain spurts, but you're not constantly working hard. Like every day, all day. It was like I was just like I like badge of honor. I worked 12 hours a day. Even when I was in school, I worked full
Yeah.
time. I had 2 jobs. Work hard,
That's
work hard, work hard all the time.
that's my next question. I wrote this down before we get past this. What did your average day look like during those times?
I would
Like,
be
did
up.
you count
Yeah.
carbs? Did you get up
Oh
at
yeah.
4 in the morning? Did you count
Yeah.
calories? Did you protein?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah. So I did all those things. I mean, I would be up at like probably 5:30 in the morning. I'd work out at 6. Depends on the day. So I guess like depends on the time in my life. So let me shift into I was finished with college. I was working full time. I was teaching fitness after work. Okay, so I pulled back from being a personal trainer because at that point I had a full-time marketing job and I was a graphic designer and had like a normal, like a 401k and like worked for corporate. It was a great job though, and I had that boss. That's like a conversation for another time, but
Mhm.
I'm very blessed to have the boss that I did at the time. She taught me a lot. But so I'm going to take a little picture of that in my life because I feel like maybe more women can relate to that, like having a full-time job and just feeling like your day is running running you
Mhm.
instead of you running
Yeah.
your day. But I would yeah, sometimes I would be up and at the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would bring my workout like bag with me. I'd shower at the gym, go to work. After work, I wasn't necessarily done. I would go to the gym and then that's when I would teach. So sometimes I would be working out twice a day. And then after work, if I got called to like, hey, can you sub a class? Well, I would be like, well, sure, I'm already there. I'll just teach back to back. So then I would end up teaching sometimes like a spin class and then going into the big group X room and then teaching like whatever, covering somebody's kickboxing or maybe butts and guts or a strength class or something like that.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so I mean, I was addicted to exercise. And
Yeah.
to the point that I would say no sometimes to like we getting away with the with friends for the weekend because it would disrupt my workout schedule.
Yeah.
It was fear.
Mm.
I think the best way I can describe is I lived in a lot of fear. And but I also want to just share a little glimpse into at the time I was also dating somebody who had a serious drug problem.
Mhm.
And I think this is important to the story because I was in love with him. He didn't start out with a drug problem when we started dating. He developed a drug problem, but he was extremely successful in his business. I admired this person so much. He was a couple years older than me. And he was the first person in my life that if he said he was going to do something, he did it. And it was really inspiring. So he built this trucking business. He owned a trucking business. So he had triaxles and dump trailers and he had all these like major permits and he was really young. And he
Mhm.
was in his early 20s and I'm watching him build this business and I'm like, this is fucking incredible. Like incredible. I don't even know people in their 30s and 40s that have done what he's done.
Mhm.
So, but with that type of go-getter mentality, it was very extreme. So he ended up getting pulled into drugs
Mhm.
later in his life.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm I wanted to bring that up because it was very, very difficult for me to emotionally handle being in love with someone who became a drug addict and having no control over that.
Okay.
So, so my way of controlling was I'm going to count the calories and my body is a problem and I'm going to exercise my way away from feeling.
Yeah.
So it was like a little bubble I would create, especially teaching, because if I'm in the room, up in the top of the room, and I'm teaching, I have to be focused on my choreography. I have to be like, what am I teaching in this step class? How am I putting this playlist together for spin? It was almost like this, like, escapism meditation of like, there's nothing else for me to do right now but teach this spin class and ride my fucking heart out.
Yeah.
And it was funny because some of my clients would be like, or the students in my class would be like, Dana, I know what's going on in your life because you express it through your playlist. I'm like, yeah.
What was the playlist today, Dana? The playlist today was very naughty. So your husband's a happy man right now. If that's
Yeah. How do you see a window into Dana's soul? Listen very carefully
that's
to her.
hilarious. Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that was like escapism, my own way of like throwing myself into that addiction, So
Mhm.
yes, I counted calories. Yes, I counted macros. I would weigh myself, not just once a day. I would usually weigh myself twice a day. It was, now looking back in retrospect, I understand I was really trying to escape all of these really hard and uncomfortable feelings about this man that I was in love with and lived with and was in and out of his house, and he was in and out of rehab, and I had no way to control his addiction.
Hmm.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So then what happened?
Um, well, with him,
Mm-hmm.
he ended up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Mm-hmm.
um but then I had a lot of peace come into my life. Relief, incredible amount of holy shit, I can move on. A lot lightened up. A
Mm-hmm.
lot lightened up after that. I wasn't as hard on myself. Um, it puts things in perspective. Grief will put things in perspective.
Yes. Life's
So,
short.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
was, I think, the one of the first phases of clearly like I'm meant for something else and there's a greater purpose. So I got more falling into place. I wasn't as weird about food. I wasn't exercising my way out of a problem. I really was finding a much better balance in my life. And I had lived on my own. I was renting an apartment. And I just remember that it was a very short time after that. And then I had ended up meeting my husband. And
Mm-hmm.
it just naturally happened because I was just ready. I was ready for a really healthy partner. I knew exactly what I didn't want. And Steve came into my life, and I knew exactly. I was like, this is the man I'm going to marry. He's a really good man. And
Mm-hmm.
here we are, 21 years later. But when after Steve and I met, it still wasn't completely gone and out of my system, because then I came up with this idea of opening a gym,
Yeah.
right? So then I got pulled back into the fucking chaos, because then it became this dream business. I worked on, creating it, and a lot had happened. Had this idea of opening the gym, but then, Steve and I bought a house. We got married. My sister had a baby. She got married. Like there was a lot happening within that couple years.
Mhm.
Um, but once we did officially open the gym and the recession hit, then it threw me back into, I can't control all of this. So it threw me back into food obsession, compulsion, counting everything. My body's a problem. And then I was exercising a lot more because I kind of knew better at that time.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I had to figure out how to save on payroll. So
Mhm.
then I was teaching sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. So I was right back. So it's just so interesting watching these patterns back in my life
Yeah.
of where, and because I talk about this a lot, even in our mentorship, that like it's like whack-a-mole. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
thought I handled this and I thought I dealt with this, but then something else comes up in an entirely different mask, an entirely different, like, but this is so different. This has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it does.
Mhm.
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
Because underneath all of it was still this like driving force of, well, I still believed you had to work really hard, right? And then I also believed, I had this like sinking, well, no matter what I do, it's not good enough. So it was just a lot of striving and a lot of proving. So it went from like a lot of my body to like trying to prove that even in business.
Yeah.
And so it kind of played out that way and
Mhm.
caused a lot of pain. So then that's where, through the expression of my business and the things that I really cared about in my career, and just like the lining up of the recession and everything, some things falling apart, that's where I had come to that moment of like, I can't treat myself like this anymore. Well, if it doesn't work, if you work really hard, well then like maybe there's some things I'm really missing, and I'm not really understanding about how the world works.
Mhm.
Like literally, that was my like, I don't think I understand how the world works. I thought I did.
Yeah.
clearly not that because I've been
Yeah.
here 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everything's fucking falling apart. And we lost our house and we have to declare bankruptcy. And I'm like, I'm hating myself more and more. I can't
Yeah.
exercise my way out of it. So I was like, I don't understand how the world works. Let me just go figure that out. And
I
like,
am
how can
picturing
I live
you,
my
I'm picturing you like getting up, doing a workout class, going to another workout class, standing in front of the room doing another workout class, and
yeah,
just like losing your mind in the meantime. I can't imagine
yeah,
doing anything like that to the extent, like you said, oh, I work 12 hours a day and you wore that like a crown, but like what did that, like you said, if you're doing all of that and you're just digging and digging and digging and digging and you just that or the boat, there's a leak in the boat and you just keep on doing and nothing is fixing the leak in the boat, you might as well just drown because you're just there's nothing you could do to fix it. And like you said, like I didn't know what to do anymore because I did
yep,
everything I was supposed to do. That's always the thing that like I think gets us a lot too is like when you do everything you're supposed to do and you're still not happy, what the
yeah.
fuck now? And you can say for
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, thank God, like I was with my husband. My husband's super supportive. Like that was something really going right in my life. And I don't want to ever discredit or take away from that at all in my story. I don't talk about that element too much, but Steve has been with me through thick and thin
Hmm.
and through
Thick
thick
and
and
thin. Wallets, thick and thin wallets, thick and thin
thick and
house.
thin, exactly. The billfold,
Yeah.
yes, yes, all of it. But as we are for each other. I mean, that's just what we can. That's just how you know you're with the right partner, for the right reasons. And sometimes I guess that's what happens. It's like, oh, it's just sort of like that quiet person behind in the scenes. That's like really helping me hold it all together and helping me feel like I got you. Like no matter what, like it's okay. I got you.
Hmm.
And that helped me surrender even easier to be like, all right, let me pull way back and let me start to like kind of start to rebuild and rethink and deconstruct. And which is, I mean, this didn't come till like maybe last year I came up with the Dana Lee project, but I feel like it was many years in the making because it was this idea that I have to unbecome to become.
Hmm.
I had to really take off a lot of like, I thought that was me. That's not really me. I thought I
Hmm.
wanted this. No, I don't. Like a lot of that had to
Hmm.
happen.
I remember you saying that you took off your Fitbit because that was
Yeah.
like, I think that I could identify with that with like just weighing myself.
Yeah.
I would weigh myself every Friday and that would determine whether or not I was good or not. And also, the weird stuff that I would do myself would be like, oh, I would eat. I hate rice, boring brown rice with like in the rice cooker. I ate that almost every day
Mm.
because I was supposed to. And one day I was like, I hate this. Why am I eating this? Oh, because I'm supposed to. Not because, just because it's good for me. And everyone says you're supposed to eat rice instead of potatoes or good carbs and all that horse shit, brown rice. And I was like, I'm not eating it anymore. And like those weird little things that like kind of a little light bulb here and there before I stumbled upon the mentorship. So you did open the gym that you're in now.
Yeah.
And when did that happen? Did that happen before or after you started the mentorship or put that together, the mentorship?
Um, that this place opened up before the mentorship, but while I was legitimately healing my relationship with food and my body.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also I think why I pulled back more. Like I was filming workout videos, but I was pulling back from some other things of like I was really building realfit.tv, but I have much more of a hybrid situation going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was more behind the scenes virtual. And I'm grateful for that because it was it gave me the grace and the time instead of me working out like 3 times a day. I was committed to releasing a new workout on the platform once a week.
Hmm.
So my workouts became more on my terms and much more paced and comfortable with my like video release schedule. It's like, okay, the first, I think it was, I'm trying to remember if we released, I think it was a Tuesday. Every Tuesday of the week, we released a new workout video. And we would, and Anita's been working with me for years, and she would
Hmm.
help me and publish those things and announce them. And we post in our Facebook group. And so it was like the first week of the month was like kickboxing. The second week is hit. The third week is spinning. The fourth week was step. And then if we had a fifth week, then I did like a mashup or we did like a bonus. And then I had one live stream workout a month, and that was on Zoom. We were doing that way before the pandemic. We have been using Zoom for workouts since like 2015, something
Wow.
like that.
Wow.
Wow, way before
Way
Zoom
before the
was
day. Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you get a lot of people in your Zoom class back then?
yeah, we did. We had a nice group because it was
Oh, yeah.
once a month and it
Uh-huh.
was on a Saturday.
Ah.
So it was like, I had my weekend people and then, people on the West Coast or some other, as other people who lived in the, across the world. It was a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then when the pandemic happened, that's where we ended up shifting to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we've held that ever since. So
Uh-huh.
been like 5 years now. We're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we love it. We've got
Yes.
a great little group also,
Yeah.
which we absolutely love. Yeah, but that was I'm really grateful for that time of the workout release schedule because that meant I wasn't working out 3, 4 hours a day anymore. I also realized the big part of this is not just healing, like, oh, okay, yeah, I fucked up my metabolism. That's not really the way that I saw it at the time. My nervous system was shot. I was, I had lived through so much trauma, um, that I wasn't giving myself the rest and the recovery of what it really took to get that process properly.
Hmm.
And working out more was wreaking havoc on my nervous system. It was awful. It
Hmm.
was awful. So I am very grateful for that. Like that idea I had of moving it online, that I was able to stay in the game. It's not the idea I had. My husband had the idea. I was afraid to
Oh
do it
yeah.
in person. It was his idea.
The wind between beneath your
Yeah,
wings.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but now I'm like, I am just more, I'm in such a good place now. Like, if you could ever, if I don't even know if I let myself imagine how healed I could be and
Hmm.
how really natural and good and healthy I would be. Um, I couldn't even see this far ahead. I
Hmm.
wouldn't even let myself see. And I'm sure you can relate to that when you join the mentorship, right? You can like it's like I
Oh
give you that
gosh.
ocean exercise and you're like, I can't even see it. I don't even know.
No. No.
Yeah.
No. It's crazy to it's not crazy. It's just like you said, the things that you don't realize are an issue until they pop up, like the whack-a-mole thing, or just, do I even like exercise? Like when the shit hit the fan, did you just give up exercise for a while? What did you do? Did you say,
So,
okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit and watch Netflix for months.
well, it's interesting because one the reason I put off I kind of felt it looming, like you're gonna have to deal with your shit, Dana. You're
Hmm.
gonna have to. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. One day is gonna come. What I was afraid of is that if I actually liked myself, that I just like, yeah, want to stay on a couch all day and I wouldn't care about what I was eating. I didn't understand. I
Yes.
really
I
thought,
think a lot of people can identify with that. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, if I like myself, that means that I don't care about, like, there's this weird, like, camp of, oh, if you like your body and stuff, that means that you want to be unhealthy. Or if you like yourself, it means that you want to be, slow or whatever. It's like a weird, but no, it's like the opposite.
Yeah. I think, well, part of it is that I have a few strong identities that I kept to, and I'm was happy to keep the identity with I'm an exerciser.
Hmm.
I'm somebody who exercises. But when I really got down to it and peeled it away, let's just say I had the ideal body and that was my dream. I'd still want to work out
Hmm.
because I fucking feel good. I feel like a powerhouse. I feel like I want to be able, I can move furniture by myself. I can I can pick up my luggage by myself and put it in the overhead compartment. Like there are things
Hmm.
that I just feel good that I can do.
Uh-huh.
And I, so I guess I allowed myself the honor of entertaining that without any correlation, because one of the things I had to do was break up with like I have to earn my calories, or like the whole calorie in calorie out thing.
Uh,
As soon as someone starts talking about that with weight loss, I say it's TBU, true but useless.
hmm.
It's true, but it's fucking useless. I don't care about calories in, calories out. Really, I don't. Because it's not even applicable to having my highest self choosing the foods and the right quantities, and right, that is
Hmm.
completely different in my world and how I
Hmm.
think now, completely different than when I'm working out and I'm lifting, that like who I'm showing up for exercise.
Uh-huh.
Now, on those days, could I maybe crave more protein or things like that? I tap into then, not because like, oh, I worked out, then I'm going to eat this. That's not how I operate. So the calorie in, calorie out thing just does, I don't feel like it's that helpful, and it doesn't really apply to me these
Yeah.
days. I don't really care. I care more about feeling optimal. I want to feel good. And as we're recording this, yesterday was Father's Day. So we had my dad over and my mom and my sister came over. My husband cooked. We had tacos, we had shrimp, we had ground beef, and we had ribs. We had pork.
We had
And
ribs yesterday too.
yeah, dad,
Yeah.
so good. So good.
So
My
good.
my husband makes some really good ribs. So it's like a little this, a little that, a little that. It's still like I allow myself to participate in the part of food that is social and connected to my family and to the situation I'm in. And I didn't work out yesterday.
Right.
Whether I worked out or I didn't work out, my food choices probably would have been the same.
Hmm.
Like I don't really, I've disconnected them.
Hmm.
And I just tune into like, and I have said this in previous videos. I do believe intuitive eating is advanced. I'm talking about this like I had gone through what I teach my clients in the mentorship. All these principles that I take my clients through, that I had to work through and sift through and unlayer and uncover, and hence why it's like a year plus program
Yeah.
because there's a lot of shit. There's a
Hmm.
lot of shit, and you need time and space and patience and compassion and support. And I got to talk it out, and I got to listen to myself, and I got to write shit down, and I got to cry, and then I got to laugh, and then I got
Yeah.
to, and then
Oh,
and then
so
I got to be
funny.
like, oh my god, I had this epiphany. Blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. You're like,
Yes.
Dina, I need to share this with you.
Yes.
I need to share this
Hmm.
with you.
There's
Yeah.
this thing that's in like the first part of the beginning of the modules, and the mentorship, that is, y you have it stated like, what will it mean when you get to your ideal body? What does
Yeah.
that mean to you? And I don't remember where exactly it is, but it's a good question. And
Yeah.
it's like, when you think about it, what does it mean to be thin, in shape, eating all the right foods? What does that mean? Because like I don't know if I ever really thought about it, but For me, one of the things it meant that I was smart. It meant that I was dedicated. It meant that I was worthy, and that I was basically, not a piece of shit like I feel like I am. And then when you turn around, you look at it and you go, wait a second, there's all this evidence that shows that I am smart, that I am strong, that I am worthy. And it's like, oh, wait a second. So then what's going to happen when I do get thin? What's going to happen? Am I gonna so it's a really good question to be like, if you're already there, why don't you work towards what you actually want as
Mhm.
opposed to the body that you think is gonna make you this way.
Mhm.
And when you do, look what happens. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I've lost a shit ton of weight, not even trying. Well, I mean, that's not right. That's not the right way of saying it. Like, I gave myself grace. I gave myself the opportunity. You gave yourself the opportunity to go, wait a second, this is really uncomfortable. And I was really uncomfortable. And all of your clients were uncomfortable before they joined the mentorship. So I think it's just so wild that, like, your higher power, I mean, we're not very spiritual, but like, something somewhere said to you, okay, Dana, no, all this shit that you went through, you need to write it down and you need to share it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then some little alcoholic is going to watch your video someday and she's going to change. And then she's going to help other people change. And it's
yeah,
just going to grow and grow and grow.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I wasn't going to go through all of that shit and not, I mean, but I am the perpetual teacher.
Hmm.
Um, I have been a teacher for a long time. I didn't first see myself that way when I started teaching fitness and I became a trainer, a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. But then it started molding into like, wow, when I speak, people like they hear what I'm saying or they are interested to see what I say and they care about how like when they ask me questions before class or after class and they like listen to me.
Hmm.
Like it was a really interesting observation of like, I guess I have this way of presenting the material, a deadlift, a squat,
Hmm.
class, whatever it is that they receive that, they can pick up on it and they become better and better, right?
More confident in their own
Confident, more
ability. Hmm.
competent, more like they get to know what it's like to move in their bodies because they're under my instruction,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
So then I guess the natural evolution from that, my gym was called Evolution. The next evolution from that, though, is that I couldn't possibly have gone through this part of like, yes, I'm in the fitness industry. And I actually had gone through nutrition certifications and things like that too, but never really felt called to teach nutrition. I felt like that actually repelled me. And to this day, it does
Hmm.
because I don't want to teach to tell you what to eat. That's not helpful. I want you to figure that out for yourself so you're in tune with your body and what your body needs. Like that's the greatest gift for the rest of your life if you could understand that. That's what I want to that's what I want to unlock for you. I'm not going to tell I don't even say like, "Oh, what does Dana eat?" I don't really share too much about what I eat, right? A little bit.
A lot of salmon.
Yeah, I will salmon at least once a week.
Every time we're out to eat, you get salmon. I'm like, what is up with salmon?
Do I order when we go out? Oh, that's
Almost every time.
oh,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
funny. You're like, I wonder how their salmon is. I'm like, probably the same as every other damn salmon.
No, it's not. It's not. Sometimes it's like flaky and perfect, and other times it's like
Yeah, a lot of salmon.
um,
But
but I
that's
wasn't going to go through all of that and then not share it. Like it was, I was so compelled and drawn to share it with my fitness community. And at that time, I had built my YouTube channel. So it's realfit.tv. But it's like, and if you've been on my YouTube channel for years, you can see the metamorphosis you can see that it was like workout videos. I had gone to like I would do these Freedom Friday videos, and I did that even in my my Facebook, my private Facebook group that was like a free group that sometimes I would go live on my YouTube channel or do these like answer questions, and it was more about mindset. So like if you've been following me for a while, you could see the evolution of I was then starting to position because the thing is, it felt kind of frustrating. No, 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 no. It felt like I was playing small with just teaching fitness. I knew that I had more to share and a deeper way to really fundamentally help women in my classes in my circle to really become who they want to become and answer that within themselves of like who am I, and I know I'm meant for more and I don't know what that is. There's only so much I could do in a training session. If we're going to be talking about squats and deadlifts and I'm, holding plank, okay, yeah, I can tell my story while they're holding plank. That would be wonderful. Then it'll be like a
I'd kill
12
you.
minute plank.
I'd kill you. The lady formerly known as Dana Lee. What
So
happened?
I
Yeah,
felt like it had to be the next iteration because like I couldn't discover all these breakthroughs I was having about, oh my God, it's not really about the food. You guys, it's not about the food. It's not even about the food. And then in the beginning, you will watch my videos and Dana, I know I hear you say that. I don't know what the fuck you mean. I don't, of course it's about the food.
right.
So but it, like, that was part of my excitement of that. If you can get that point, it's not really about the food, it's about all these other things. And if I
Yeah.
resolve all these other things, oh, by the way, the food resolves.
Yeah.
It's all the other scary things that you want to control and I don't want to deal with. And I'm going to put it under the rug and I'm going to put this up on a shelf and I'm going to put this one in a box. And I don't need to talk about that. But then that box is like getting really dusty and, the rug
Yeah.
is lumpy and you're trying to vacuum over it and like there's no like at some point it's got to come out.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, you're
It's like, I like to watch a lot of cult stuff.
yeah,
And I think that diet culture is a cult.
yeah,
Um, that we like the idea of it is so messed up but we've all been so used to it and we're just so indoctrinated in it, like over and over and over and over again, being told like this is gonna fix you. No, this is gonna fix you. No, this is gonna fix you. And then everyone kind of and then it's always your fault if it doesn't fix you. That's just like cults where
yeah,
the guru will tell you, well, you have to pray more. If you don't
right.
pray, you obviously didn't pray hard enough or whatever.
You didn't diet
Um,
hard enough, you
yeah,
didn't
you
work
didn't
out
diet
hard
hard
enough.
enough. You didn't,
Yeah,
there
you
must
need
be
to
something.
move more, you need to
Yeah.
eat less. Yeah,
Yeah. When you jump on the scale and you don't lose weight, it's not because the program is fucked up
yeah.
and you've been told your whole life that it's not that, it's because you didn't do enough push-ups or whatever. So, and in the meantime, you're pretending like, like say for you, your boyfriend is an addict and you're like, nope, 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 nope. That's not the problem. I need to work out more. I need to be I need to do this to get this. And
Mhm.
you're not even realizing it. And
Mhm.
that's what the mentorship does. Um, it helps you. I mean, I don't know if we've had many people who've had those kinds of traumas, but for me, I am an alcoholic and I was sober for 9 years before I stumbled upon this program. So it's like my drinking was something, and I really knew that because I did so many other things to continue to stop drinking, there has to be something else to help me with my food issues that's not just about the food. And when you said it wasn't about the food, I was like, this is something because when anything else is going on, when your marriage is in trouble, when you're an addict, when you know that there's more to it. You have a fight about who burnt the casserole. It's not about the casserole in your marriage, it's about something completely different. So it's like, oh, so like getting rid of all of that and trying to just gather up all of the who the hell I am without all these rules,
Mhm.
that's where we pull ourselves back in again. And that's what you did.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. I have to figure out who do I want to be? Who am I really? Who am I really underneath all the things? And there are things like, oh, look, I still love working out and I have even a healthier relationship with my body. And now I work out because I want to, not because I have to. And, work out 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. But I love my time off. I don't feel weird guilt about it. There's things that I talk about now because I obviously like I want to help these so many women and perhaps you who is watching this video to
Mhm.
like there is hope on the other side of it. So I have to really try to put myself back there because my brain works on autopilot so easily that it is not like the food noise and that guilt about moving my body or not moving or whatever. It doesn't, it's not there.
Mhm.
It's just not there anymore. But it was there for
Mhm.
decades, it was there. So, um, so
And it
there's,
like slipped out through the strainer somehow or another. It got out.
yeah, I think honestly, it was just these compounding. It's not like, we first do start doing this work, this idea that like you can just banish negative thoughts. It doesn't really work that way. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's a it's almost more like you got to reframe and reorient and reframe and reorient. And like, how do I look at this? And then what's another story I could tell that's the exact, like looking at this, but from another perspective? And how do I look at this, but from another perspective? It's just reframing. It's a constant practice of reframing. And
Mm-hmm.
what ends up happening is it just crowds out where that negative voice in your head, it's so blatant that it's a lie. It's not really who you are. It's hard to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like it gets to the point of like that, okay, that's not helpful. Like it may come up, but you're just like, that's not even true. Like, you
Hmm.
know, you
Yeah.
start to recognize it more.
Yeah.
Is like it's not really who you are. Yeah.
So to wrap it up, because we talked about your day when you were like in the worst part of it,
Yeah.
12 hours days, getting up, working out, blah, blah, blah. What is it now? What's your normal day like now?
So now, I mean, I don't wake up to an alarm. I don't really start working until like 10 or 10:30, but even sometimes I do work a little earlier, but because I just want to, may feel something inspired and I want to share it on social media or something like that. Um, or I maybe with one of my private clients, maybe like just texting them back or just connecting in some way. Um, so like this morning, I took my sister's yoga class at 10:30. I had our live stream workout at noon. Now that may sound like, yeah, but Dana, I thought you weren't exercising like a lot. So the the intention behind why I'm doing it really matters.
Hmm.
I don't look at the yoga practice as a workout. I look at the yoga practice that first of all, I get to spend time with my sister. Second of all, it's a place that I get to be a student. She's teaching and I get to be the student. Third, her practice, the reason I love her teaching is that she will weave bigger life concepts and philosophies into why we're doing what we're doing. So today it was about expansion, but also being grounded. And so in the asanas, it was like, where are you pushing into the earth to actually get more, feeling more expanded? And that can also happen within our thoughts of like, how we can be like small, but like have really expensive thoughts. And so it was like that duality,
A great way to start your Monday. Shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, because it feels good on my hips and my knees and it's really healthy mobility. But I show up to that for way more than the physical reasons. Where back in the day, it was like, oh, well, I'm not burning enough calories. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that part anymore. I have so many other reasons why I like to move and why I do yoga. That I don't consider that like over exercising. That's not even like a thing that I do anymore. That's a hard no. That is a fuck no. I'm not doing that. And then, what our live streams are like. We lift and
Mhm.
we have a lot of fun and do a little bit of yoga in that and a little bit of
Mhm.
stretching in that too. Being with some of my favorite people
Mhm.
online. I love it. I
Uh-huh.
love the clients. So then in the afternoons, I will typically, like we're doing this right now, but I have one-to-one meetings with clients on Zoom and from the mentorship. So sometimes I have those calls lined up, whether they're from private clients or some of my clients who have like the kind of a combination where they got the group and then they'll talk with me once a month. Um, I sometimes will go meet someone for lunch. Like I met Anita for lunch the other day, so there'll be some days, like not 2 days of the week are ever the same for me. And I love it that way. Now, for some people, it drives them crazy. They can't have that kind of, they don't know, I love that. I've actually always thrived in that. I don't want every day to be exactly the same. And then later on, I have two group training classes here in the studio back to back. I have a 4:30 and 5:30 Mondays and Wednesdays. And so tonight I've got my two groups and they are just a joy. I love them. I love clients. They're so much fun.
Mhm.
Even if it's like today is kind of dreary and overcast, but I'm like, when they start walking in the door, it's like it's just so fun. It's fun to train them. And then I'm home by like I try to end work at 6:30 and then I'm home before 7 and then depending on the night, Steve and I can cook dinner together. Sometimes it's a fend for yourself. Monday night he has drill. He's a fireman. He volunteers in town. So Monday night is drill. So I kind of do my own thing on Monday nights, which is like, well, that's when I can get caught up on my TV shows that I
Mhm.
like.
Yep. And eat what you want for dinner.
Sometimes my sister and I will do a little FaceTime because then we can catch up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a day in the life of Dana.
Yeah. Easy
It's
peasy.
lovely. I love my life.
Mhm.
It's curated. I built it. I've designed it. It's intentional. I've had to say no to things. I say yes to things. I've gotten clear on boundaries, having to enforce boundaries to be able to create this life.
Mhm.
So when my life was running me, so there's also a correlation between that. When I felt like my life was running me, I felt like I needed to control the food and the exercise and that my body was constantly a problem.
Mhm.
And now that I have created this life that I love, now it's like food, it complements. That's the other thing I did this morning. So every Monday I prep my vegetables and my lunches for the week. So then when I'm done with my live stream and I get in the shower, I can heat up my lunch and it's already prepped. Everything's already taken care of. So I have lunches every single week. So that's something that I used to like, it was a pain in the ass, or I'd kind of like pull things together, or it'd be more like low calorie, macro counting kind of things.
Yeah.
Yes, I lead with protein because I just feel really good with protein and vegetables, but
Mhm.
that's very different than the old mentality of like, I did it for dieting purposes. Now I do it because it feels good in my body. My body responds really well to that. And also, as perimenopause and being even more conscious of your protein intake, and it's become important to me, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah, and when it's nice out, I get to walk. I'll walk in the morning. I have a neighborhood that's like a closed-in neighborhood, so I can take a few loops around my buildings, and it's wonderful.
Mhm.
I love my life. I love my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and it's only
awesome.
getting better from here. I feel like, it's nothing I can't handle. Steady as I'm ready. It's, I have thank God, where it's
Yep.
like,
Yep.
yeah, the mentorship program where a lot of ladies are talking with you once a month. And so I get to really like, you know, pick and choose and be able to curate, like that kind of schedule too, where I don't end up back in that same pattern of now my life is running me. I'm very conscious of that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't want that, and it's not necessary. It's
Yeah.
not necessary. And it's even in the more successful I'm becoming, I
Yeah.
have I have freedom and I have flexibility and yet creating even more success. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good place to be in.
Awesome. Awesome. So anything else you want to say before we are done?
No, this is fantastic. Perfect timing because I'm gonna have to unlock the door and let my ladies in for the 4:30 class. So that
That's
was
good.
great. Thanks, Mandy. Thanks for.
Yeah. I got more questions. I got ready. I'm ready for next week. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
Yep.
I'd love to ask Dana. And that's fun too, because then you don't have to prepare. And when you're not prepared, it's so much better. It comes out like, oh yeah, I'll tell you about what happened to me and
Yeah.
all that. It's so much better. So
Yeah, but like
we like you
I know.
authentic. We like you the way you are. Just be you. So much better. So much better. So
Well, thank you, Mandy, and thank you to our listeners and viewers. We're happy to have you here, and yeah, I'd love to know what your inquiring mind wants to know.